let's take a look at normal distributions with one item in finding values. Now, the finding values part, if it says find probability, percentage, proportion, or area, one of those four things, then that tells us to use the other function. This particular one does not say probability, percentage, proportion, or area. So, a little bit confusing because it might say find the age that separates the top 30% of the class from the rest. Find the grade that separates the bottom 20% from the rest. Find the values that separate the middle 95% from the rest. Find the number of pages, find number of people, find number of cats. It can refer to anything, but it's referring to a value. And again, as long as it doesn't, if it says probability, percentage, proportion, area, you're in the wrong video. Those are the ones where you want to use the other function, the normal D underscore CDF. Okay. Now here's our flow chart. If it's referring to finding values, if it says standard normal distribution, that's the easy one. Use that methods in that video. These are all on mathheals.com. If you Google that, you'll find it. And then eventually under the graphing, calculator technology, I forget what it says, calculator technology section. The many items, that's pretty straightforward because it'll refer to a number. It'll refer to like 30 people or 40 pages or 50 dogs or something like that. You'll see some reference to an amount of the numbers, and then it'll say find the average age separates the top 30% from the rest. So it'll refer to an average because it's referring to like 30 people. Now here, this one again, the one items may not be so easy to see, but if it's not this one, then it's this one. Okay, now we're going to find the value, or I should mark which one we're looking at, and move my microphone out of the tablet. Okay, so this is the one we're working with in this video. Okay, so find the value separating the bottom 20%. Well, first off, when we're talking about this one, you're going to be given a mean. And let's say the mean is 50. Maybe you're looking at years. 50 years old. And our standard deviation, mu, is population mean. This little symbol here is sigma. That's population standard deviation. That'll be 3. And the general format of our function, I'll write down here in a minute. Actually, I don't remember it. I think it's normal D underscore. Let me write it down just to see if I'm right. I'm definitely not an expert at HP Prime. I just had a request to create this video, or these videos. And then inverse CDF. This part may have changed a little bit. And then our first parameter is our mean. Our second parameter is our standard deviation. And our third parameter is the area to the left of the value we're trying to find. Okay, well, so let's draw this picture. Value separating the bottom 20%. So they're telling us this value over here is 20%. Which, if this is 20%, then this must be 80%. We're trying to find this value right here. So we're ready to plug that in the calculator. And let me clear out those ones from the previous video. What is it? Normal D ICDF. Normal D ICDF. I guess I got it right. Okay. Now, no matter where you are, if you're here in apps or if you're in one of these functions, if you press your home, it'll take you back here. And to do this one, we're going to click our toolbox. That'll bring up the menu. And if math isn't chose, if you got one of these other ones chose, then click the math. I think the regular HP Prime graphing calculator is a touch screen, but if you're using an emulator like me, just click the math. Now we want to choose probability. Now notice there's a 5 next to it, so I simply press 5 to choose it. And then I want to choose inverse, which is the last one. And notice there's a 7 next to it, so I do 7. And then I want to choose normal, which has a 1 next to it, so I do 1. And it's asking us for the mean, which we said was 50, comma, standard deviation, which is 3, comma, and then the area to the left. And value we're trying to find is this one right here. So the area left will be 0.2 or 0.20. Both of them give you the same answer. So put in 0.20 and press enter. And I'll run out 2 decimal places, but it tells us our answer is 47.48. 47.48. So that would be the age. It separates the bottom 20% from the top 80%, given those values. Okay, we're going to work with 50 and 3 in all of these, so that doesn't change. Now let's look at the top 30%. So what they're giving us is they're giving us the amount over here. Well, if that's 30%, then this has to be 70%. And this is the value we're trying to find. Now remember, we're working with the area to the left. So if I'm looking at this right here, the area to the left is the 0.70. So that's where we're going to plug in our calculator. Okay, so I'm going to choose my toolbox. Choose 5 for probability. Choose 7 for inverse. Choose 1 for normal. I want to put in the mean, which was 50, comma, standard deviation, which was 3, comma, the area to the left, which was 0.7 or 0.70. And then press enter. And we get 51.57. And that's our answer. And then this one tells us the middle 95%. Well, if they're telling us that the middle contains 95%, that means that this has to all add up to 100%. So if 95% is in the middle, then we're going to split 5% into the tails. So this will be 0.025, and this will be 0.025. Now we're trying to find 2 values here. Trying to find this value and trying to find this value. So let's find this one on the left first. If I look at it, the area to the left of it is 0.025. So let's go plug that in. Same mean, same standard deviation. Okay, so I'll do my toolbox, choose 5 for probability, choose 7 for inverse, and choose 1 for normal. The mean, which is still 50, comma, standard deviation, which is 3, comma, the area to the left, which would be 0.025. And then we'll press enter. And we get 44.12. So this one is 44.12. Now let's find our next one. Trying to find this one right here. Now if we look at the area to the left, we have to add up all the area to the left. So 0.025 plus 0.95 gives us 0.975. So let's plug in 0.975 in our calculator. So I'll do my toolbox, choose 5 for probability, choose 7 for inverse, choose 1 for normal. Mean, which is still 50, comma, standard deviation, which is still 3, comma, and then we'll put in 0.975. And then we'll press enter. And that gives us 55.88. So the values that separate the middle 95% from the rest are 44.12 to 55.88. Now there's sometimes variations of these, but they're all based upon using these basic building blocks. Now the one thing you need to keep in mind is what's good and what's bad in a lot of cases. For example, here in normal distribution, this is how long it takes to run the mile. Now, it takes me probably 3 hours to run a mile. Not that I can run. Which isn't good. Another person might take 15 minutes to run a mile. Well, over here, I'm to the right, so you can't say, well, you're better, because you're over here and your number's larger, because this is 15 minutes, and this is, let me see, 60 minutes per hour. This is 180 minutes. Actually, the better is over here. So when they say the top 30%, in this particular setup, how long it takes to run a mile, we would put 30% over here, and we would put 70% over here. So each problem is different in this regard, and you have to read about it, read it to see where should that value go. Sometimes the top is over here, sometimes the top's over here. Unfortunately, there's no guideline. You just have to think of this as the number line, and what happens when this goes 15 to 180, which is worse, which is better, and then using that help you figure out what they're asking about for the percentage. Now in this video, we took a look at finding values of normal distributions with one item using HP Prime calculator.